Hello everyone, this is fifth experiment of full stack JavaScript DOM elements and events. Um, First of this code is document HTML, which declares the document has HTML file, which tells the browser to render the page using modern HTML rules. And by starting with HTML tag, which opens the root HTML element, everything on the page lives inside. And the head tag, this starts the document head, a section for metadata, styles, title, scripts, and that should load before the content inside the head tag is not shown indirectly as the page body. And title has given here simple calculator. Set the page title. This text appears on the browser tab and when booking marking the page. Firstly, the style tag starts an internal CSS block, styles between style and the end of the style tag, which defines how the element look. So in the body tag, the margin, padding, font family, font family, background image, background size, background position, height, display, and justify align items. This margin as 0 and padding as 0, which removes the browser default spacing, so layout is predictable. And font family Arial sans serif sets the default font. Background image, which uses a remote image as page background. Then background size, which covers the scales the image to fully cover the screen, cropping if needed. Then background position centers the page and makes the body at least the height of the viewport. Display, I have used a flex to justify content as center, and align items as center, which calculator both horizontal and vertically using flex blocks. In dot calculator tag, background color as RGB and padding as 30px, and border radius, box shadow, text align width. This style elements with class dot calculator, semi-transparent white background for contrast, padding as 30px, spacing inside the box, and border radius as 15px, rounded corners. Box shadow adds a soft shadow to lift it off the background. Then as the text is align as center, inline the text, then fixes the box width. And calculator H2 as marge button, which styles the H2 inside dot calculator at space below the heading, set heading color to the dark gray. Next, input type number, this padding for comfortable typing, vertical margin between inputs, and then width has 90%, so input fills most of the calculator box width, and font size readable size, light border and rounded corners. Then styles the buttons, padding and margin for spacing, removes the default border, green background as 2E8B57, and white text, rounded corners and pointed cursor on hover. Then in button, hover background color, defines the hover state for buttons, a slightly darkened green for visual feedback. And here in result, hashtag result, margin, top, font size, color and font weight, which styles the element with ID result, but the calculator output appears. Space above it, larger bold green like multiplication, subtraction, division, and then it will close the style tag and the head tag. When again opens the body tags, the visual document body, everything here will be rendered. And in division class, the calculator start with the div with class calculator, the container for the whole calculator UI. Then H2 as simple calculator as a heading, top of the calculator box, and we have given here input types of number 1 and placeholder as enter first number and the second number. Then type is number, means the browser shows a numeric input, and ID as number 1 and ID number 2 give unique ID identifiers, so JavaScript can read their values. Then placeholder shows the hint text with the fields are empty. Then bear, which forces a line break after each input and stack them vertically. And button on click calculate addition, calculate subtraction, and calculate multiplication, calculate division buttons are required. Each button calls the calculate function of JavaScript function when clicked via the one click attribute, passing the operation symbol as a string argument. The visible text on each button is operator symbol. Then ID as result. An empty division with ID as result. JavaScript will write the calculation output here, then will close the dot calculator division part. And by opening the script tag, starts an inline JavaScript block which will calculate the var number 1 and var number 2, pass float and pass float. Defines the calculate function that takes an operate argument, which parse float reads the string value from each point like number 1 and number 2 and converts them into floating point, where result declares a variable to hold the computed result. Then validation check. Is none of number 1. Test whether either input failed to pass to a number. If either is not a valid number, the function writes an error message into the result division and returns early and stops the execution. Then we'll use the switch loop. It will perform a switch and operator like addition, subtraction, and multiplication, compute and store numeric results. For division tag, it checks number 2 is not equal to 0. To prevent division by 0, if number 2 is 0, it sets an exclamatory string instead of a numeric result. And default catches and unexpected error. And we'll close the script tag. Then we'll close the JavaScript block, and with the body tag and the HTML tag, closes the document body and the root of the HTML element. This is the end of the page, and we can give the simple calculator any number. And this was the 5th experiment.